Now, in describing the space shuttle, God let us know this here. He said, verse 7, and the verse was like a lion. Let's go back to verse 7 in Revelation chapter 4. And the first beast was like a lion, and the second beast like a calf, and the third beast had the face of a man, and the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. So the man had no significance, he was just there. But the military was flying this thing this time. Blackwater, CIA. And the four beasts had each of them 6 wings. He telling you the four beasts had of and the four beasts had of them 6 wings about him. And these had 6 wings. That's one left side of your boost rocket. He's telling you the significant how many wings component it took this vehicle to make it complete fly. Because there was creatures of the earth, they couldn't live up in there forever. They had to return back to earth because there was no way to live up there, even if it doesn't matter what they create. So in order to go up, they had to use the 2 solid fuel booster rockets, the external fuel tanks, which would cover the first wings, the component. The left solid fuel booster rocket number 2, the external fuel tank is left solid fuel booster rocket is number 1, the external fuel tank number 2, the right solid fuel booster rocket number 3, and the jet engine is the 4th. These are the positive wings which have enabled this vehicle to defy gravitation. These 3 jet engines, which is at the back of the space shuttle, pushing it up in the sky. Now, but it had to return. These are the 4 wings to take it up there. But it got to come down. So you got these 2 external, these here hydrogen engine, which sits back here. It doesn't need as much thrust to go up. Come down, they do go up because it doesn't have any gravitation of that. This is what God was telling us. Now, we had the glider wing. You had one on each side where they join one to the other as a superstructure. It tells you that in Ezekiel chapter 1. And they be joined together. So this would make six wings. The negative wing, which is glider wing, is 1 on the left side. Negative wing number 2 is a second wing, but they join on together, forming a solid superstructure where they both cover each side. Well, you add these 2 wings onto these 4 wings. This would give you a total of 6 wings, which caused this vehicle to go by. But during this time, when the lion have taken and used this here, this is when they must destroy the whole world. Weapons of mass destruction having nuclear capabilities to be used. The war in Afghanistan and Iraq would have gotten out of control until something would have happened that would cause them to want to exterminate all of the peoples over there in the Middle East. And when they make a mighty kill, because of it's just like the man who is gambling all the time, he loses $20. Then he said, if I get my $20, I will leave. But he ended up losing $40, and the more he stay in the game, the more he lose. And the more he loses, the more angry he becomes. This is what the United States of America have done today. They should have never gone into Afghanistan with those minor offenses. They should have long pulled them out instead of adding troops. Iraq should have never been in the question in order to conquest. They should have turned from their ways and went and served God like those people have. But what they try to do, they try to democratize the nations of the people, try to insult God. They failed to serve God because they didn't like his way of freedom. They want to remain killers And every time God blessed his people for being just, he would go in and attach himself onto the biblical cord. One thing that troubled me, and I'm going to talk this part here, and let me go to this part here because I got to come back and take this again here because I want to show you this here in Ezekiel chapter 10. I want to just come through here and show you this, but I got to come back. I got to come back. I got to come back here because I want to. Because this has some significance, because I keep telling them that God blew the space shell up over Texas. Ezekiel chapter 10, it says, and when I look, I'm going to go to verse okay, let me make sure I get this here. Okay, this is one where I want to go, and I want to show you this. It tells you who did this. Jesus. Verse 10. Then I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the head of the cherubim, that appeared over them, as it were a sapphire stone, at the appearance of the likeness of the throne. And he spake unto the man clothed with linen, and said, Go in between the wheels, and even on the cherubim, and fill thy hand with coals of fire from between the cherubim, and scatter them over the city. And he went in my sight. This part came to pass when the United States of America invaded Iraq on false charges. It showed you then that Saddam Hussein was right. They came over there to take it over. These people was not no terror. God blew that space shell up over Texas when it re-entered the atmosphere of the earth when it came in. So but what I'm trying to say is, and I will use this here on the format as I start my next one. The 30,000 men that God sent me in there. If you go to Revelation chapter 12, it tells you when they go and surge and flood the nation of Afghanistan. That's what it's talking about. It tells you in Revelation chapter 12 that it talks about the red dragon, which is the nation that have nuclear capabilities, which is the United States of America. And I'll get to that on my next segment. He said they would go after them with the blood of soldiers, a major insurgent. And when he do this here, they're going to go in with a flood trying to consume Bin Laden. That's what they're going to do. The earth is going to open up and swallow some of the United States men. It's going to kill a lot of. And once he find out that God is fighting with these nations, he's going to go and use weapons of mass destruction, and he is going to try to empty the earth. In Daniel chapter 11, when God forced his hand and make him slaughter all of these peoples, and he see what he had done when all of these people be laying down dead from the United States using nuclear weapons, and the nation is going to look up on this country because they know they provoked them peoples into knocking down their trade center building because they always place sanctions on people to not let them buy and sell their goods, spoken of in Revelation chapter 13. And when they do this, they're going to have to keep China from coming and the Soviet Union coming. They're going to go and try to destroy many, spoken of in that same prophecy of Revelation chapter 12 and Daniel chapter 11.